How's it going, everybody? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about ginseng, and in particular, we're going to be talking about Panax ginseng, and we're going to be talking about basically the truth and the facts about ginseng. That of course they just get completely misconstrued with misinformation and the trendy kind of like mainstream health communities and stuff. People who don't actually read on the subject enough, and they just start making like videos trying to sell fucking products and shit. So we're going to be actually talking about Panax ginseng, okay? And this is Asian ginseng. This is Chinese red ginseng, Korean red ginseng. This is Panax ginseng, like the real legit stuff, okay? So I keep seeing videos from people talking about how ginseng is like this amazing adaptogen, and like it is good if you're trying to lose weight and to mitigate the effects of stress and this and that, okay? That's not really a good perspective to come to approach this from. Now, I'm not saying that ginseng can't help with these things, but it has very specific uses in traditional Chinese medicine, which is where it originated from. 5,000 years or more of documented medical usage, okay? It goes back to the Yellow Emperor's Classic and Shin Nong. And a lot of these classical Chinese medicine books, The Web That Has No Weaver, that most of these people haven't read, okay, document side effects and negative outcomes that can happen from the misuse of ginseng. And they can be very pronounced, okay? Like people talk about ashwagandha, for example. And you have some people who it's like life-changing, and some people where it's like, oh my God, like I have like excess thyroid and all these negative symptoms. It's because people are not using ashwagandha the way that it's meant to be used. And this video is not about ashwagandha. Panax ginseng is a completely different plant, okay? Completely different. And Panax ginseng is way better, in my opinion, and more universally tolerated than ashwagandha. But it's just an example of the problems that we run into when we're just like going with the trendiness, okay? When you come into an herb or something like that and you're trying to like get some kind of substantial benefit from it, you need to do your dang research. So before I even get in this video, I'm going to recommend everyone read. I have the book. I bought it and everything. I don't feel like digging through my closet and all my textbooks to find it. But it's Ron Teagarden's Chinese herbs book. Basically, Ron Teagarden has a book on traditional Chinese medicine, and he released it in multiple different forms under multiple different titles. I think it's like Radical Health or something like that. And if you just look on Amazon or, buy it from a used bookstore, it's been out of print for a long time. You can find it in some various form for like $13. I recommend everyone start with that book. But it does kind of it kind of makes ginseng sound a lot like it has less side effects than it really does. But it's a really good primer on Chinese medicine, how things works, and does a good job of explaining ginseng as well as all the other Chinese sonic herbs in a pretty good and summarized and easy to digest way. But for ginseng specifically, so far my favorite book is The Healing Power of Ginseng and the Tonic Herbs: The Enlightened Person's Guide. It goes basically over a lot of the research that has been done studying ginseng, and not only mechanistic research but intervention trials. It goes over the history, and it also talks not only from that scientific background but also talks about the traditional Chinese medicine view of how ginseng works in the body, so that you don't end up with like ginseng abuse syndrome, and also so that you don't end up like some of these people who just say, oh, ginseng didn't work for me, I didn't notice anything from it. It's like, that's probably because you didn't use it properly. You should notice something if you're using real good ginseng, okay? So this is a really good book to really, really get started on with ginseng. I do have a couple of other books. This is a really good book. It's very old. It's from the 1970s, but it is a really good kind of historical text on ginseng. And it's great just to have in your collection. Now, I haven't even started reading this one yet, but I will pretty soon. But just to show you all, I'm really, whenever I have books like this on Rishi as well. When I start to get into something like this, I get really, really into it. And that's why I'm able to talk about these things for so long. So anyway, ginseng is not something that you take just for weight loss, okay? Because it has so many other like side benefits that can actually catch you off guard and you might find it the wrong way. So first of all, for weight loss, ginseng has traditionally been used, okay, Panax ginseng, to remedy weakness, to cure weakness and fragility. When you take ginseng, one of its main effects that you will notice if you take it is it increases your appetite. Okay, this has been verified multiple times in studies and scientific research on ginseng that it does have some kind of effects on neuropeptides and things that are released that control hunger, that make you hungry. Ginseng has been documented for centuries. That's its major usage, is to increase the appetite and also to heal from weakness. When you're in a very deficient state, when you have been ill for a long time and you're extremely weak and you're trying to recover after you've already recovered from ginseng. It's also not recommended to take during a period of illness, but afterwards. Or also if you're an athlete, okay? People who are young and they're healthy should not take ginseng unless they're an athlete who goes through severe, extreme physical training. Because when you do that, you deplete your body of nutrition and things like that. And over time, when you are going through like really vigorous physical work, if you're a construction worker or something like that, there's a lot of wear and tear on the body that needs more repair. Ginseng helps to stimulate processes in the body that promote that repair. That includes increasing your fucking appetite. Because when you are more hungry and you eat food, you're giving your body the building blocks that it needs to recover from that training and stress and whatnot. So people will run into sleeping problems and overstress and what they call adrenal fatigue and adrenal burnout and all these things because they're not eating enough calories and the right nutrients in order to recover. And this is a very real problem. And this is one of the reasons why that increase in appetite is a good thing. But people who are looking for a drug-like effect to lose weight and heal and help their immune system and all these buzzwords and shit that people over-glorize, they're going to be like, oh, it makes me hungry and all this stuff. An increase in hunger is not good. I'm trying to lose weight and be healthy and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, they're like malnourished and, they have anorexic tendencies. And it's like, they're raw vegan or something stupid like that. It's like, you take ginseng, it's going to start to make you naturally want to do healthy things to become healthier. Like, that's basically the biggest thing that ginseng is going to do. But beyond that, so not only does ginseng stimulate the appetite, but it stimulates the flow of energy, what the Chinese and Asian culture generally calls qi or qi. But it's a very complex topic that is not really easy to communicate in a Western sense. But the flow of energy, so you can think of like an increased desire to be animated, an increase kind of like in your general movement, your desire to continue movement and get momentum going in every aspect of life. I find ginseng increases your motivation or your desire to get momentum started in your career, in your process of mastery, in your physical kind of thing. Like if you're the type of person who naturally avoids exercise, I find ginseng builds up that desire to exercise over time. It basically increases the flow of energy and the tendency to want to move energy mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's what I believe kind of ginseng is, and I think that's kind of what moving qi really is about. It's about creating energy flow creating that flow of energy, which is what most people are really looking for when they're trying to be healthy. And we're talking in all aspects of life. You know, that feeling of stagnation, or like you're stuck or whatever, or like there's an obstacle you're trying to move past, but you just can't move past it. That's what a lot of these tonic herbs are about, okay? Ginseng does this in a very yang and masculine way, I found. And I think reishi does this in a very like yin kind of different type of way, okay? At least that's been my experience, but you may have a different experience. This is a very different kind of view on ginseng than most people have. You know, people be like, oh yeah, if you're low on sleep or you're sleep deprived, ginseng will help you to have energy and boost cognition in a sleep deprived state. It's like, yeah, that will actually happen. And some people report insomnia with ginseng from that effect. However, that's just like a reductionist way of looking at it. That's just like one little drug-like effect it can have if you are viewing it through a drug-like paradigm. But over the long term, you might create sleep decrements. If you already have so much kind of yang energy built up to where you have insomnia, the one thing you don't need is to take an herb to enable you to continue to be an insomniac. You know, people are like, oh yeah, I am an insomniac. It's just, you know, that's my neurology. I have hyposomnia or some shit like that. And, you know, I need to take like modafinil or something or I don't know, nootropics to help me in my sleep-deprived state. It's like, how about you just find a way to maintain your finances and all the other shit you have going on in your life. You know, find a way to live in accordance with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you also can have healthy sleep patterns. And take herbs and things to balance out your fucking sleep patterns so you can actually be healthy and have healthy rhythms, and you're not taking something like fucking ginseng that might actually make that even worse. So anyway, let's talk about ginseng abuse, because this is a real thing that can happen. Is basically ginseng abuse syndrome is where you're taking ginseng in a situation where you really don't need it. So if you're a healthy individual, a healthy person who just has a really unhealthy sex drive, and you're like, man, like I just, you know, jack off 5 times a day to porn and I can't stay hard after that. I need something to boost my fucking libido. It's like, well, your libido's fine. It's just you're using that sexual energy in a negative way. Taking ginseng is probably, you know, gonna make that imbalance worse. It's not really gonna help you. It'll only help you in ways that you really don't need to be helped. You could take ginseng and maybe it'll help you with your sex drive, you know what I mean? But like, there's going to be a point in time where that's just unsustainable. But the thing is, someone who already has an abundance of that type of energy, you know, or they're already highly energetic people and stuff like that, they have trouble sleeping, and they're extremely sexual, and they may be a little bit overly aggressive on that kind of side of things. And they take ginseng, now they have more anger, and they sweat more, and they're really hot all the time. They have even more trouble sleeping and excessive masturbation, and their thoughts are just uncontrollable at this point. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because ginseng is increasing all of those qualities that you already were perfectly fine in that department. These people should probably avoid ginseng. That is a constitution that ginseng is counterindicated for. However, if you're an elderly individual, you're like 60 or 70 years old, you're always cold, you have a tendency towards pain and injuries and stuff like that, and you have trouble just getting up in the morning and going for a walk and getting your day started, ginseng can really, really help. Or if you have a general lethargic type of constitution and you're generally pretty low energy and stuff like that, low motivation and you're cold and, you know, and maybe you have trouble like losing weight, or maybe you have low appetite and you have trouble losing weight. That generally indicates like a low thyroid condition. Taking ginseng can really help with that. It can help all of those things, and ginseng's perfect for you in all of those regards. So, yeah, and if you're an athlete and you are, you know, you're having trouble sleeping, but for a different reason, because you're always training, you're in a hardcore weight cut, you're like in fight camp or something for competition, like I am right now, hence my black eye that's almost healed. You could take ginseng during camp, but it's going to make you want to eat a lot more, and that's going to be hard to cut weight and make weight for your competition. Ginseng is typically used for athletes after a period of really hard training in your cycle, and after your hard weight cut and stuff, when you're most depleted and you're trying to recover from a really hard cycle of training. You take Panax Red Ginseng to help you recover, help you replenish, and to eat back all those nutrients that you might have depleted your body of. That way your body can sustain the higher volume of output. Or somebody who's trying to put on weight for strength training or something like that, I think ginseng can be very, very helpful for. So, yeah, ginseng is not this fucking thing that you should just take lightly and be like, oh, it's a freaking supplement, nootropic or bodybuilding or blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, it's like a living organism that is going to do some really noticeable things to you, and that's only if you're taking the right extract, or the right type. So this is only pertaining to Panax Red Ginseng. Keep in mind, if you are taking white ginseng, Panax White Ginseng, that's going to have a different effect. If you're taking American ginseng, that's going to have a way different effect. Okay, American ginseng is the complete opposite. It's going to have very different effects. American ginseng is cold, it's more yin. If you are the type of person that you take ginseng, like Panax ginseng, and you have like negative effects, like too much anxiety or stress or something, taking American ginseng might actually help you tremendously, okay? Because it's the opposite. It's like the yin version of the yang, yin to the yang. Siberian ginseng is kind of in the middle, but it's also a different plant. I think Siberian ginseng, if you're looking for the benefits that red ginseng has, but you're scared or, it's too much for you, too over hot or over yang, taking Siberian ginseng can give you all the same benefits that Panax ginseng would, only without a lot of the negative effects. It's kind of a good de-stressor as well. Mind you, it's Eleuthero is not actually a ginseng. Whatever. Anyway, in regards to, and there's other things too, Panax Natto Ginseng and all these other things. Anyway, for Panax Red Ginseng, if you're going to take it, okay, don't make the mistake of taking any of these extracts that are standardized to like high ginsenoside compounds and things. Like, that's cool and all, but only after you've done like a legit ginseng powdered extract, or not an extract, but a real ginseng root. So I would say at minimum, a 6-year-old ginseng root, because in order for it to be effective, it needs to be old enough for the constituents to kind of mature and grow. So a 6-year-old ginseng root at minimum. Make sure it is a red Panax ginseng root and it's legit. Buying whole roots will be even more certain that it is legit and what it says it is. Panax Red Ginseng. Also, so make sure it's like, and so start with the plain root powder, okay? And it can be very hard to find legit powders. I had one, it was like Wisconsin Dairy Land Management or something, and they were legit, and they specialized in American ginseng, and they had a good Panax Red Ginseng powder. They also sell the whole roots, but now they're out of stock of the powder, so I don't know if they're ever going to get it back, but I hope they do. Because it's amazing stuff. Like, you really know that you're getting the good shit. But there's other brands out there. You just got to look. But you got to make sure it's real ginseng. Like, you will feel it. And take a whole teaspoon of the powder, preferably boiled into like a tea or a concoction for multiple hours to be really, really potent. Or you could, if it's a really fine powder, blend it with some hot coffee. But the more you kind of brew it like a tea and like or traditional Chinese medicine decoction, the saponins will be kind of brewed out, and you'll get this foamy, frothy like texture when you really kind of bring out the saponins into the hot water. That's how you know you got a good one, okay? That's why it's important to do the whole powder first, okay? And there's people that chew on the ginseng roots themselves and notice an effect. And then only after you've had like a month experience with the real shit, okay? So you're not one of these freaking crazy, these just misinformed people who are like, oh yeah, I tried the ginseng extract from like Now Foods and like it, yeah, I didn't feel anything. Ginseng is complete placebo. Like, it's placebo. Just like all these other alternative things are placebo. Meanwhile, they're like commenting in like a supplement forum or a nootropics forum. It's like, if that's the way you feel, you know, like everything's placebo. Like, why are you in that forum or whatever? Like, that person has some questions to ask themselves. Their mentality is not the right approach. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, about a teaspoon of the powder brewed over time. Make sure you get the frothy saponin release. And then you'll know. So, that's what I'm going to say about ginseng. And, yeah, furthermore, there's studies that show a potential modulation if in obese rats on the hunger hormones, showing that it might have double direction effects on hunger hormones, but I think it's better to kind of just assume that it'll increase your appetite. People who are obese taking ginseng will probably be sadly mistaken. Generally speaking, if you're obese, you probably shouldn't be taking ginseng, I'll tell you that. Not red Panax ginseng. So leave your questions and comments down below. Talk to y'all next time.